Before the start of any cat team shift, be sure to check out the Who's Here animal board in the volunteer room. This will tell you what cats are here, what cages they're in, what their status is, and any notes that might be important before you spend time with those cats. Once you've done that, go ahead and head over to the cat adoption hallway. At the beginning of the hallway, you'll see 2 Get Acquainted rooms. These rooms are available for volunteers to take cats to spend time outside of their cage, whether you're taking a cat out for a potential adopter or just taking a cat out to give it some enrichment. The next few rooms you'll see in our cat hallway include our small animal room, which we won't go over during this class, our underage kitten room, which houses any kittens that are waiting to go to foster, whether they're too small or not yet social enough for adoption. Please do be aware we have a sign on this door saying "Do not enter" because we don't want members of the public going into that room. We have our kitten room and our adult cat room up next. These rooms are used for overflow if our regular adoption rooms are full or if we have cats that just need rooms with a little less activity. Finally, at the end of the hallway, you will see we have a room set aside for TNR and feral cats. We ask volunteers and visitors to not go into these rooms because the cats in these rooms are not social and get easily stressed by too much human interaction. You will also notice we have a cat condo in the hallway for housing any of our adoptable cats that may need a little more space, like our friend Moody here. Directly to the right side of our cat condo, you'll find our cat workroom. In this room, you'll see an overflow of any supplies such as litter boxes, cat trees, newspapers, and some workspace including a phone, computer, and sink if you need them. And finally, we have our 2 main adoption rooms. These rooms have the big glass windows for folks to see cats from either inside or outside the room. Next up, let's take a look at what our cages look like up close and how to set them up. At the base of the cages, there is a section for storing newspaper. We use newspaper to line all of our cages beneath the bedding. Next up, you'll see that both of our cages on the top and the bottom have 2 separate spaces to help maintain different living areas for cats. One side for their litter box, one side more for their lounging area. On the bottom cages, you'll see it's not a 50-50 split, but the concept is the same. All of our cages can be divided for easy cleaning, or if you need to close a cat onto one side of their cage for whatever reason, that's how you do it on the top, just by closing this circular portal. And on the bottom, you use these little slide out blocks to pull them out, flip them around, and stick them back in, and that will cover up those portals. You do want to do that on both the top and the bottom shelf in these lower enclosures, and that just makes sure that the cat is closed onto the side you need. An empty cage that has not yet been cleaned might look like this, where there's no paperwork, no cat, but there's still stuff in there, or it might have been cleaned out but not yet sanitized, like this cage. A clean and ready to be set up for a new cat cage will have a litter box with litter, it will have clean fresh newspaper, and it will have an overturned bowl and potentially some bedding ready to go. An occupied cage will very clearly look lived in. There might be a cat in there. There'll usually be some soft bedding on top of the newspaper. There will be food and water dishes with food and water in them, and of course, paperwork on the front of the cage to let you know what cat is supposed to be living in there. Next, we're going to go over the 3 different ways you might visit with a cat. If a cat is listed as being okay to have in-room socialization, that means that you can actually just open up the cage and allow the cat to explore the room that they currently live in. It's important to be aware if you are allowing a cat to explore the room to watch out for people coming in and out of the door, as well as any disagreements between cats at the front of their cages. If you need to distract the cat or even use your body to block them from having access to each other, please go ahead and do so. When you have a cat out, you can do a few different things with them. You can brush them, groom them, pet them, play with them, or even train them. If you are interested in teaching our cats to do cool, fun tricks, but you don't know how to, sign up for our Cat Training Basics class. When it's time to put a cat back in their cage, you can use a treat to get them to jump back in on their own, or you can pick them up and gently place them back in the cage. This is a big guy, but you get the idea. Next up, if a cat is listed as cage-side visits only, you can pull up a bench or a stool or a chair and sit next to their cage and simply open it up to visit with them. If you see a cat like Vinny here who's feeling very stressed out, it's okay to refrain from socializing them and just know that right now they just need quiet time. And last up, if you're going to take a cat out to the Get Acquainted room, you are going to need some kind of carrier or feral den to transport them. Get it all set up so that you can take the cat out, open it up, say a quick hello to the cat, and then go ahead and gently lift them and place them into the carrier. You'll watch me do this with a kitten here. This is a lot easier to do with kittens than with our adult cats, but of course we can pick up our adult cats too. Once the carrier is closed and secured, use a blanket or towel. You can either pull one from the cage or from the cabinets in the storage area to cover it up so that they're not stressed out by the sights and sounds of the hallway as you take them over to the Get Acquainted room. The walk to the Get Acquainted room is just a few steps away, and make sure that when you're carrying them, you're not jostling them around too much and they remain covered. Once you're in the Get Acquainted room, go ahead and uncover the carrier, open it up, and let the cat come out when they're ready at their own pace. Some cats, their first time in the Get Acquainted room may be quite overwhelmed and might never leave the carrier, and that's okay. When you are playing with kittens specifically, be sure to utilize toys and games that don't encourage kittens to play with your fingers. It can be a very dangerous behavior for kittens to start hunting, stalking, and obsessing over fingers. It is definitely a pathway towards mouthy behavior and potential bites. Set them up for success by playing more appropriate games that allow them to exercise their hunting skills without targeting our hands. Finally, when it's time to take a kitten or cat back to their cage, gently pick them up, place them back in their carrier, cover that carrier back up with the same blanket or towel, and return them to their cage. And that's it. You've taken a cat out. Now that you've learned all the basics of working a cat team shift at the Elk Grove Animal Shelter, get ready to come in for your in-person Cats 101 class. During the class, you'll have an opportunity to refresh all of these teachings in person, practice your skills hands-on, and ask any questions that you might have. We look forward to seeing you soon, and thanks for being a friend to the cats.